Welcome back, Vintage Gamers, to a Wednesday night Vintage League. I'm going to do a little something different tonight. A lot of people have been asking recently about Mono White Initiative in Vintage and how it is currently a large metagame share. Does this mean it needs to be banned? Does it need to be restricted? What do we do when a deck is 30% of the metagame? And so what I'm going to do tonight is kind of go through my thought process on how I try to build decks and deck ideas in metagames that are narrow, where there are, or maybe, is it wide? No, wide would be a lot of things. Narrow would be a small number of things. Anyways, so we're aiming at a small number of decks that dominate a large metagame share. And so I'm going to go over some ideas that I had recently about dealing with a large initiative metagame share. And we're gonna play a test league with a brew with an idea and see how it works. That might not be the right answer to the metagame. Maybe it'll be a great answer. And maybe one league won't be enough to tell. But those are the kind of things you have to start and test with, and work out whether your ideas make sense or not. So what I have in front of me is the last 2 weekends. Ooh, I broke it. The last 2 weekends worth of vintage events. So that's 4 challenges and a PTQ. And you can see that the metagame is extremely condensed into a few areas. So Mono White Initiative is 115 decks out of 448, giving it something like a 30% metagame share, 25% metagame share, which is extremely large. Vintage is not actually a format where you see a super wide metagame a lot of times. For a while, Tinker has been around 20% metagame share. Granted, it is within a variety of different decks inside of the Tinker, like high-level archetype, but it's not uncommon for vintage metagames to be, 20% of a single type of deck. You don't want to be, 25, 30% mono white. I don't think anyone wants that, but that's how it is right now. And so we can, start by looking at how do we attack the biggest metagame share in the format. And something that I'd like to check first is it actually the biggest metagame share in the format? Yes, this one deck has 25, but the idea of aggro decks being, 30% of the metagame, you can feasibly say that maybe there's another type of deck that is also around that metagame share. And so what I would look at is, well, let's see, what are these other decks? Well, Control Bazaar and Dredge, those are both Bazaar decks. Together, they're not equaling that much of the metagame, 15%, a large number, but not, nowhere near, half of 30%. But the thing I want to look at right now is actually maybe this is a problem with my classification, but I would say combo shops, which is primarily jewel shops, which is really, really prominent right now. Yeah, it's more of a combo deck, more of a tinker deck, that kind of deck. So if we take combo shops, 8%, we take the combo decks in the format, Doomsday, maybe not Breach, but let's say Doomsday, Breach, Oops, all spells. So 8%, 17, 25, that's 25%. And then we take all of the tinker decks, 13%, and we're actually at, 38% metagame share. So what we have is actually you have to kind of look at 2 avenues when you're looking at the largest metagame shares. You're looking at 30-something% aggro decks and 30-something% combo decks that are looking to win the game in the early first couple turns, utilizing a combo kill. And then after that, a reasonable share of Jeskai, reasonable share of Dredge, and shop, Bazaar decks together. But what we want to do, what I have been doing is thinking, I want a deck that beats mono white and beats combo decks. And that's not an easy task, right? Because those decks are so far apart on the spectrum of things. How can we attack both of those kind of decks at the same time? And something that came to my mind was, well, as a combo player, a deck that really annoys me is playing against Miharu style Oath. So that's the Rug Control Oath. That's 4 Pyroblast, 4 Flusterstorm, Mindbreak Trap, Force of Negation in an Oath of Druid shell. And I was thinking, well, what kind of things can that deck play against mono white? Well, it's not super good to put like Niv Mizzet and Grizzlebrand into play against the Caracas deck. That puts you really weak to Solitude. Having a bunch of Pyroblasts and Flusterstorms is going to be a hindrance in that matchup as well. But maybe if we refigure what the deck is doing, we can make it have a positive matchup against mono white, and that way we have both of those large metagame shares covered. And so what I did is I took the Oath deck, and instead of playing the more what I would say are generic or blue based or combo oriented Oath targets, we instead play the one that is very, very narrow and specific to creature based decks, and that's Serra's Emissary. And so what I have in front of me here is a Oath of Druids deck built in the Rug Maharu style that is playing main deck Serra's Emissary as its targets. So theoretically, when you look at the way most of these mono white decks are currently situated, you're going to see 0 Swords to Plowshares in the main. And so the only way to deal with a Serra's Emissary is a Solitude. And so if you Oath into a Serra's Emissary and place it on creature, you have won game 1. That is not 100% the case. Like, you could get trapped out of the game, of course. There are some minor corner cases, but in the most circumstances, in game 1, Oathing into a Serra's Emissary on creature is going to win you the game. So we can mitigate the issue of having Pyroblasts and having Flusterstorms in our deck by having an extreme oops, I win button at 1 and a green mana. And so that's what I have. I have an Oath of Druids package, Gaia's Blessing, Serra's Emissary, and then the rest of the deck is, very typical Rug Planeswalker controlling shell with lots of counter magic to beat combo and Planeswalkers to grind out the game. The trick ends up becoming in games 2 and 3, what do I do with my Oath of Druids Serra's Emissaries? Because I could, board them back out for, Archons or Niv Mizzets, but I actually really hate the Oath package in general against the variety of blue decks, especially combo decks. And so what I tried to do is build a sideboard plan that allows me, when I'm not playing against mono white or I'm not playing against Bazaar, to take out all 7 Oath pieces and board in to a controlling Minx and Boo deck. So something like Minx, Pyroblast, Negation, and then if you're versing like PO or a deck like PO, you bring in Null Rods and maybe Claims and Vigors. If you are versing, more of a blue deck, maybe depending on what creatures they have, we have a couple interesting other targets here. But basically what I want to do is, against combo decks, take out the cards that don't matter. But against creature decks, I want to be able to one-shot them off of my Oath of Druids Serra's Emissary. I am, once you start getting into these kind of nitty-gritty details, we do have some interesting answers I have in my sideboard here. I was looking for a red removal spell that, number 1, needs to kill Containment Priest, because Containment Priest is the number 1 way they combat Oath in the sideboard. So it has to kill Containment Priest, but I don't want it to be dead against, a variety of these other cards. I don't want it to be like a 2 damage removal spell and not kill Archon. And so what I did find was I'm going to try out some Rending Volleys here as a way to make sure that we can kill the white creatures and still have some splash damage onto some other decks in the format. But yeah, this is my idea, right? My idea is we have a winning game plan against mono white in Oath of Druids Serra's Emissary, and then a winning game plan against combo in a very heavy negation trap Pyroblast Flusterstorm controlling deck, where we don't need to use these less powerful cards post board, and we can board into a much stronger avenue of attack. So Da Vinci brings up a great point. Well, didn't you just say that the next highest metagame share is Bazaar? Well, it turns out that Oath of Druids Serra's Emissary is actually also Bazaar hate. So the idea is to land an Oath of Druids with protection, and if you Serra's Emissary on creature against every kind of Bazaar deck, you are in extremely good shape. Against Dredge, the only thing they have is Creeping Chills. Against Squee, the only thing they have is Snapback. And then against Hogak, they typically have nothing. So you actually get to answer the Oath, get to answer the Bazaar decks playing Oath Serra's Emissary, and you get to answer the aggro decks with the same plan. So I haven't figured out the entirety of the mapping. I don't exactly know when. It's possible against Doomsday. I would say we're going to go Minx, Boo, Pyroblast, Negation, 2 more cards. So probably Null Rod. Yeah, probably Null Rod. That's not ideal, but I mean, you're already a 4 Fluster, Pyroblast, Negation, Trap deck. I don't think Doomsday is a particularly great matchup. One of the big problems is getting down mana so that we can like actually hold up counter magic and play a threat. But the Wastelands do help a little bit. So there's some play there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying this is tuned. It's not tuned. This is going to be like my second or third league with this idea. Worth noting, one thing I have done is taken out all Forbidden Orchards from my deck. And this can and maybe will come to bite me. But the idea is against the creature decks, Oath, Emissary, you don't need Forbidden Orchard. And then against the non-creature decks, Forbidden Orchard isn't a huge liability. It really threatens your Planeswalker game plan and can and does lose you games of Magic. So what we're going to try to do is, because we suspect that our Oath of Druids is only going to do good against creature decks, and the creature decks won't have any other thing to do besides play a creature, we're going to try cutting Forbidden Orchard completely from the deck. That might be wrong. We might need to have like 2 orchards in the deck or some other number. There are other numbers between 0 and 4, but I tried 4 the first time and I hated it. I'm going to try 0 this time and see how it goes. One thing, of course, of note is that League metagames are very different than Challenge metagames. And so we might see 0 mono white initiative in this league, and that will be, well, kind of bad testing, unfortunately. It might be the case that we play against 5 PO, but I think our deck is actually set up in a way where maybe that's not a huge deal. So that's what I was thinking about recently. That's how I've been thinking about maybe a way that I might want to attack the metagame coming up on the showcase, which is actually not this weekend, but the next weekend. Make sure you have your 40 QPs to play in the very first Vintage Showcase of 2023. And let's just get right into a league. If you'd like to see your deck played on this channel, check out the Patreon link in the description below, where you can find all the information you need to submit a donation deck list. Let's battle. All right, round 1, Vintage League. On the play versus Marcio. Marcio, it looks like they're going to reveal a Lurrus, which is unfortunate for us, actually. I think that the Jeskai matchup is kind of hard. That's one of the metagame. That's one of the decks that I didn't build my deck to really beat. So I do think the Jeskai matchup is quite difficult. And I haven't decided, actually, if I want to keep in Oath or sideboard out Oath. Because I actually think that Oath is quite good against this creature-based Jeskai deck. And Sarah's Emissary on instant is usually game winning. So I haven't decided if my sideboard plan actually changes or not, which is really interesting. That one has come up a couple times, and I'm not exactly sure how I want to address it yet. One of the really annoying things that happened recently is Prismatic Ending. I guess that's not recently anymore, but Prismatic Ending is really annoying to play against as an Oath player. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Lurrus doesn't mean they have to be Jeskai. I just wanted to talk about Jeskai a little bit because I actually think it's a pretty important point, because I hadn't discussed it in the deck building section. This is one of the most annoying parts about playing a if we had a Forbidden Orchard. One of the most annoying parts about playing Renin 6 in this deck with off-color Moxen is it's really hard to protect Renin 6 with your Flusterstorm. And I think the answer is I just have to be more cautious, but I think I'm going to just play my Oath of Druids anyways. So this will just stop them from playing creatures. It doesn't really matter that we have no Forbidden Orchard. We do have Oko, and we don't need to win with creatures, really. So I think it's fine. And if they force this, I'm probably just letting it happen. I don't really care about the Oath here. It's more of a bait than anything. All right. Obviously, if my opponent ends up on like a deck that doesn't have a lot of creatures, then Oath looks silly. But, I mean, it's really hard to be a Lurrus deck with no creatures. This was like more, like I said, more of a bait than anything. It's definitely awkward because we have no orchards in our deck, but I think in the long run, I'm going to be happy. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm saying it's a bait, but if it kind of depends on what they force pitching. You might be right though. You might be right. Maybe we should just hold the land and have a bait. I mean, I also don't want to get dazed, which is a thing that could happen. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this happen. I think I want this Flusterstorm to be a higher value. So my idea for the deck is that I don't want, like, post board, we're boarding out Oath of Druids and playing a control deck, and I don't want Forbidden Orchards in my control deck. And then for the matchups where Oath is good, you don't need an Orchard against them. So that's the idea behind it. And it's not like I can't ever turn on Oath. I am playing 4 Oko, so you can always turn on your opponent's Moxen and turn them into Elks. So I think I'm just always letting this happen. Getting my opponent's draw step here is really high value when they're down to 4 cards in hand. And if they get anything that's crazy, like, or they're likely to get Ancestral in my mind. If they get Ancestral, we get to misstep it. If they don't get Ancestral, if they get Black Lotus, I guess. We still have Flusterstorm to cover, like, something bad happening, so. Let's see what happens. Like, they might have Flusterstorm right in their hand, and they went Ancestral Fluster, but we're going to just wreck them with Mental Misstep Fluster, so we'll see. Let's see. White, Null Rod. Okay. No problem there. All right, well, now we're in a great spot. We're going to resolve a Wrenn and 6, and then we're just super far ahead, I would say. And if we ever did need to kill this Null Rod, we do have Beseiju. I sure hope they didn't vamp for Rod, but we'll see. I mean, this is like a very classic Maharu hand of you can't kill me ever. I'm just going to grind you out with Planeswalkers. Though, I don't know if she's been playing Wrenn and 6 recently. I did find that this deck really wanted Wrenn and 6. I don't know if it's correct, but I wanted to play Wastelands, and Wrenn and 6 gets a lot better in your fair matchups when you have Wastelands, so. All right, what do you got for us? Okay, so they did vamp for Ancestral, but they waited so they can play around Flusterstorm, which is a play I like a lot. Mental Misstep is just an absolute beating here. Just ridiculously good. Yeah, so they're down to 3 cards. I do like this play, though. I don't know if I would have vamped on my upkeep if I wasn't going to play it that turn, but... No land drop. And then we're just going to make a land drop every turn for the rest of the game. We could theoretically Beseiju them off of colors at some point. I don't know what's in their deck, so I don't really want to start like a Beseiju loop of any kind. It's tough when things are bruised. What is this? Is this going to be blue dig in my upkeep? It's pretty sick. I got it covered, but it's pretty good. These straws are just really, really strong. I've definitely drawn the right half of my deck in this game, which is a problem you can have with Oath a lot of the time. Oh, Sanctuary. I didn't really think about Sanctuary. That's definitely an option now, actually. That's not usually an option because of Forbidden Orchard, but actually probably correct. Good. That's maybe we stumbled on a good point, but we still found the good point. I do think that's an interesting point. I actually think maybe we are supposed to play a Sanctuary, and maybe instead of like second Besage or something. Sanctuary looks actually quite good here, I would think. Well, not quite good, but like okay. All right, my opponent has given up. The Oath of Druids, I don't know how much the Oath of Druids actually did, because I don't know what my opponent's playing. I'm going to go under the assumption that I don't care about Oath. And what we're going to do, I might keep Gaia's Blessing in, depending on what I think is happening here. I'm going to bring in Minx. I'm going to bring in up to all my Pyroblasts. And then it's possible Rending Volley is good. It's possible Nature's Claim is good. I just don't know what my opponent's doing exactly. What I'll do for now is I'll bring in one Rending Volley and I'll keep the Gaia's Blessing to attack their graveyard. And this seems like an interesting way to go about this. Let's try this. And if my opponent ends up being a very creature-oriented deck, then we can swap back into Oath in game 3 if we want. There's a lot of cards that have been printed in Magic's history, and Vintage has the ability to play any of the good ones, or any of the bad ones as well, so... I don't really like this hand. I want to have a land in it. I don't know about this hand. I want to have cards that matter. Man. I think I'm going to mulligan this. All right, this is definitely my best hand yet. I do think I'm actually going to keep the Ponder. I'm a little worried my opponent is like Esper with Wastelands or something. That's unfortunate. I think I'm going to let it happen, though. Don't think I want to mental misstep this. Those were definitely rough mulligans, but we're on the draw and have a pretty reasonable hand, so let's see what happens. Esper Sentinels. I mean, if they have Esper Sentinels, we'll definitely change up our board plan for game 3. Esper Sentinels it is. All right. That means they probably have like Containment Priest as their answer. And this is also a white creature. So what we'll do in game 3, if there is a game 3, we will probably board back into Oath and we'll just bring in some like Rending Volleys. I have to see more creatures, obviously. All right, I'm definitely going to take this Brainstorm. Am I going to definitely take this Brainstorm? I think I'm going to take this Brainstorm. Maybe I should actually hide the Brainstorm in case they like Cabal Therapied me or something. That was probably bad. I really want to like not have lands. They do have Wastelands. Okay. We don't have basics in our deck, by the way, which is probably an oversight, but I couldn't figure out like I couldn't find a basic that I really wanted to play. Like oh my lord. It's Island is probably the best one. But it's just so bad with Wrenn and 6. I don't know. All right, well, I think what it will do is we'll draw one of our lands, and then at the end of turn, we'll fetch away the other land, and then, I don't know, end of turn Brainstorm paying 1, and get to keep 4 cards, something like that. I don't know. We're really far behind, unfortunately. This Esper Sentinel looks pretty good. I was surprised to see the Esper Sentinels. I think most of the time you play against an Oath deck, you would probably not want to play Esper Sentinel, but maybe, you know, if it's a preordained Oath deck, maybe that's not the case. I probably should have fetched before. Oh, well. I could also theoretically just let them draw one. Don't know how I feel yet. Oko should be fantastic in this matchup. So if I can resolve an Oko, that'd be nice. Obviously, negation does not help me resolve an Oko. Are we vamping again? No. Another wasteland. Now I kind of regret actually bottoming that, fetching away that other land. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I think I'm gonna just pay for this brainstorm. I don't have a daze or a gush, right? That's actually something I should also consider, is that I took away the Forbidden Orchard, so I'm allowed to play gush now. I didn't think about that. Okay, yeah, so this deck is definitely misbuilt. I have not considered the fact that I can play gush and I can play Mystic Sanctuary, because I typically just don't think about them when I play Orchard decks, right? Brainstorm in response. But yeah, I think we will have to make sure we make some notes, and at the end of the next, the end of the match, we gotta go fix cards. So Gush, Sanctuary. I think Gush and Sanctuary. If I end up on 0 Orchard, then I definitely would play Gush and Sanctuary. I also probably still need to consider a basic, which I did consider, but partially did not. Okay, my own wasteland. Interesting. Well, I'm not a tutor deck, right? I probably should have done this in the other order. I don't think 1 Orchard is very... Oh, so they are Lavinia. All right, well, this means I just have to force this. If I get flustered, I get flustered. I have no counterplay anyways. Probably just pitch this Narset, though, because this Narset's going to be really bad. So they really are Esper creatures deck. I mean, they can say hard cast negation here. I think I actually am not going to use this way. I was thinking about using this wasteland, but then they just played Sapphire, so... I don't have an answer anymore now to Lurrus, though I can answer Lotus, but I don't think that's good. So I'm going to have to, like, Oko. This is pretty bad for me. I guess, like, maybe I should Wasteland so they can't Lurrus. Ugh, I don't know. We're super far behind in this game, unfortunately. The double Wasteland was the real killer here, because I think if we don't get Wasteland, these cards don't matter very much. Oh, they had to fetch anyways. Yeah, I don't really subscribe to Library of Alexandria in 2023 or 2022 or 2021 or 2020 or 2019. It's been a little while. I think we're pretty dead here. I made a very large sideboarding mistake. I should not have boarded out Oath. I just did not understand what my opponent was doing, which is the power of playing a brew, for sure. Oh, that is like the worst possible card for them to have, because now they kill my Oko. Oh, they brought it back. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. I was thinking they were going to bring back Lotus. I didn't realize they had another Sentinel. That's a really good play by them. That's a heads up play. All right, I'm going to concede this game. This game is not worth playing. I'm going to completely change how I sideboard. I mis-sideboarded horribly. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring back in Oath of Druids. And we're going to bring in all the Rending Volleys. And then I'm going to take out Negation and... I mean, they are still like an Esper good stuff deck. I have to consider what I think is bad for me here. I don't think Minx is needed. Still kind of like the idea of Trap. I think I'm going to just trim on the 1-mana counter spells. Maybe this... Who needs another? I don't think I need another Besieger there. All right. I think I really hate the way I boarded originally. If they're going to be this creature-based. They are playing Esper Sentinel against Wrenn and 6, though. So if we play a turn 1 Wrenn and 6, things are good for us. I think I still like Bind Break Trap. Just eliminates a lot of ways we can win. So a card that I had in my sideboard back when I was playing Forbidden Orchard was actually Slice and Dice. But you don't really need Slice and Dice very much when you play Wrenn and 6, to be honest. So, all right. Keep. This is a 6-card hand, but it seems like a pretty good 6-card hand against them. Maybe? I'm not actually convinced. Oh, I'm not saying that I made up. Like I make up no cards. No cards I make up. They're there. All cards already exist and already have been played in Magic. I just make sure I take all the best ideas and play them. So I had a Slice and Dice in my first list. But once I cut Orchard, I decided I didn't want it anymore. So what's my opponent on right now? 6-card hand. I don't want to get Wastelanded right away. So what I'll do is I'll play Black Lotus Fluster, or Black Lotus Fluster, and then I'm going to wait to play Wrenn and 6 until the second turn here. That way, if I really need to resolve Wrenn and 6, I can Fluster back up. I kind of want to hold this Lotus for Sarah's Emissary. Yeah. Remora was a surprise to me, but it's really good against like the jewel shops and co. So... Okay. Every Mox in this deck draws is probably very strong for them. Okay. So this is probably going to cantrip. I can't imagine that I pay for it. But then it's just going to die. So I don't think it's a huge deal. Oh. Huh. I guess this is just new plan. I just resolved this instead. I guess I can have Force plus Fluster backup. No. I think I'm going to play this Wrenn and 6. I don't exactly know how... I'm not going to kill this. But I'm pretty sure I want to have a Wrenn and 6 in play. I don't know how much the Fluster matters. Maybe it matters. Maybe they have Fragmentize, but I think I'm okay with that. I guess the worst thing that could happen is like Time Walk or something. Let's see what happens. I do have one of the emissaries in my hand and not really very many good ways to get it out of my hand. So I will only have one emissary. I'll probably have to name instant. Sentinel is actually a card that doesn't really see play in Vintage. It's not a card that I haven't tried a bunch. So Wasteland, not very good against Wrenn and 6. The problem is your Sentinel needs to be in a blue deck, really, and there are not that many blue decks that want to play Sentinel. So what is this? This is a prismatic ending. That's a good reason to hold open Flusterstorm. Fair enough. I wish I had a Wasteland. I feel like a Wasteland would be really good here. All right, so maybe I punted this game by playing this Renin 6. I didn't really... I talked about Prismatic Ending a little bit in the beginning of this video, but it did not really register to me to play around Prismatic Ending. So, just a bit of a misplay for sure. Looks like they don't have another land, though. Wasteland would be killer. I mean, everything is killer. I think we're in a pretty commanding position. Let's see what happens. I think I'm okay with playing this out. I guess I can't cast this Emissary at all, so I would need to draw Brainstorm. It's not ideal. Do we want to kind of draw, like, an Oko? A Wasteland, a Strip Mine, a Wasteland, Cantrip. Most cards in my deck that are not exactly Sarah's Emissary, probably. Vampiric Tutor. I'm gonna Flusterstorm this because I don't want it to get like I don't want it to get Black Lotus or something like that that enables some kind of play that would be bad for me. I think it makes sense to fluster this one. Nice Looking Power is very expensive on Magic Online, so. That's true. I could Gaia's Blessing my own Black Lotus. That's a fair point. Right, I'm really looking to draw Wasteland, Cantrip. Probably gonna fetch so I don't draw. Oath. Well, I do think I'm gonna play Oath out. That also limits the number of things they can do. Too much for a digital object. Far too much. I'm kind of hoping they just force this. The nice part about Vintage Online is that a set of power is only like 50 tickets or something. So it's actually pretty reasonable to play Vintage online. Usually most rental subscriptions get you pretty close. Yeah, so I apologize. I probably threw this game. It was a pretty easy win if I just play around ending. Didn't think about it. But we'll see. We're in a pretty good spot still, I think. I really wish we had Wasteland Lock. That would make me a lot happier. All right, so my opponent is greatly debating whether or not Oath of Druids is the card they're allowed to let resolve, it looks like. I understand that it might be problematic for them to let it resolve, as then they can't play Lurrus, Lavinia, Prismatic, or Sentinel, any card in their deck, really. Maybe they have Bob in their deck? They could have Bob in their deck, right? We haven't seen any of our 4 Okos. Or I guess we saw one in game 2, but we weren't able to cast it. Oko is incredibly good in this kind of matchup. So they did go Force of Negation, pitching Force of Will. That's totally fine. We're okay with this. We don't have that many fetchables. I think I put 6 in the deck, probably. Yeah, 3 of each. So we will run out eventually. White, blue, Lavinia, maybe? Or did you draw your Dig Through Time? Well, it wouldn't be a Dig Through Time. It'd be a Cruise. That's not enough, right? That's just enough for Cruise. It's pretty good. So I find these decks were really hard to hit Delve because of how many creatures they played, but my opponent has done a really good job of hitting Delve, so could be just wrong. Maybe they have more spells than I. So there's an Oko though. That is a good one. So what do I want to do? Do I want to just stand up my Sapphire and attack? Do I want to turn off their white source? I kind of like the idea of turn off white source. I guess I'll have to see if it resolves first. Yeah. I guess that dies to Time Walk. I don't want to die to Time Walk. I guess if I just plus my Oko, then I can hold up activation. I guess that does expose me to Prismatic Ending if they have another land in their hand. I don't want to like give them free reign to cast creatures by standing up Sapphire. I'm probably supposed to attack, to be honest. If anything they play is a problem, we can just elk it. So. All right, let's see what happens. Opponent got to resolve a Treasure Cruise, so I feel like they are actually back in this game somewhat. We have basically 3 dead cards in our hand. They don't know that, but we do. Obviously, Brainstorm might be one of the best draws in our entire deck. Again, any Wasteland, I think we have 3 Wastelands and a Strip Mine. Any Wasteland's quite a good draw. That'll help close the game out really fast. Obviously, like Time Walk, Ancestral are all good draws. Narset's pretty good. Preordain looks pretty good. I'm interested to see what happens because I do think opponent has some ability here to play creatures now that I have an Oko, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, like it's really hard for this kind of deck to get rid of an Oko. Oh, they're playing Ledger Shredder. Oh, that's pretty good against Oko. Yeah, it's quite good against Oko. I kind of wish I had held up my food to swap with Ledger Shredder. That would have been really nice. The Sentinel will just die to Red and 6, which is pretty okay. So they did make a 2/4 flying Shredder, but obviously Oko can outsize it for a while. So and if we draw a Mox, we could even just take Shredder and just play that game. Force a little late. All right, we're gonna kill this Sentinel. And then, I guess I should have attacked first. Well, I guess I could attack and then Ren and 6 this Shredder. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason not to do that. Ren and 6 is not very high here. All right, so they didn't block. So that plays out the window. But that's okay as well. They have to attack this Oko or I can steal Shredder. And then next turn, if they don't actually play 2 spells and pitch to Shredder, then they can actually, I can actually steal this Shredder still. So opponent's in a pretty bad spot, and I actively have a Force of Will as well. Kind of an interesting set. Cool deck from the opponent. I really like it. Definitely my style of blue nonsense. One of the ways I like to play blue nonsense. Sure. Are you gonna loot? I kind of wish I had elked this Pearl, huh? Wow, that's a really good one. If I had elked this Pearl, they would not have been able to cast anything. I probably should have forced this before they shreddered. I'm pretty bad at this game. Oh, wait, no, they can't have anything. Never mind. They don't have any mana. All right, so I'm going to get all of my fetchables here. I'm going to force this Time Walk, and then I will untap, kill the Sentinel, and take the Shredder. I just, like, didn't tap all my things. It's kind of nice. Nice of you to do that. Shredder can attack, but it's a 2/4, and then I can just take it. They had to pitch a Tundra. My opponent probably needed to Wasteland me twice, and then go to their second main, and then play Time Walk. Oh, they're going to attack Ren in 6. That doesn't seem like it matters. Now I get to keep an Oko. This is very bad for you, opponent. Oh, now they're Ren in 6 locked out of the game as well. All right, yeah, this game has just ended right now. Well, this game got not close very quickly. I can even turn their Pearl into an Elk. Wow, that was interesting. That was a very, very interesting game of Magic the Gathering. So that's cool. Okay, here we go. Round 2 of our Vintage League. We of course, are playing against OKMV, a frequent battler here at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. OKMV has been playing mostly 4-color Deathrite Shaman Walkers for a long time, so kind of a pseudo mirror almost. It will probably be unfavorable for us. So what happens when I try to metagame? I hit brew, or I guess not brew, but brew / small metagame share deck. I'm gonna keep this hand. It's not strongest, but I think with the brainstorm it makes sense. Underground Sea go. So there's only one Underground Sea inside of the 4-color Walkers deck, so it might not be 4-color Walkers, it's Ancestral. Okay. Unfortunate. Play draw diff. Mox Pearl is not a bad draw, though. Lets me go Time Walk. All right, so my opponent is on 4-color Walkers. And they currently don't have a lot of good mana, but they do have double Wasteland. So this is a hand where if I had Forbidden Orchard in my deck, I would be pretty favored, I would think. Okay, I'm going to go Tropical, Time Walk, Brainstorm. See what happens. We kind of need to draw really well, I would think. If we hit Wasteland, actually, they have nothing in their hand, right? So Wasteland could be pretty good. Jet. Okay. Well, I'm going to Brainstorm because currently we are in deep trouble. I'm going to concede. All right, I concede. All right, so what is our plan against 4-color Deathrite Shaman? I don't think Oath is the plan. Minx and Boo is definitely the plan. Pyroblast is definitely the plan. Negation is definitely the plan, but this is really... Branding Volley is really bad. So that is not enough cards. It might be some kind of, like, 2 Oath, 1 Emissary nonsense. White creatures. I don't know how else to answer that. Well, yeah, initiative. That's a good way to answer that. Sorry. Initiative is the reason. All right, I think I am gonna just get rid of the whole package. I'll just keep in Gaia's Blessing. It's fine. Oh, no, that's a Sarah Emissary in here still. Oh, shit. All right, well. Small mistakes were made. Small mistakes were made. Better or worse than having 61 cards in my deck? All right. Well, I really need to draw lands off this ponder. Like, I really need to draw lands off this ponder. I mean, I think I'm supposed to keep it. Muldrifter. Nope, I wish. Muldrifter's a sweet one. Man, I want to have a Mox Emerald. Damn. Guess I wish I had Oath. No! All right, I concede. It was a close game. Both teams fought hard. Okay, here we go. Round 3. This time we're going to play against one of the decks that I signed up to play against, right? Right? This is the kind of hand I'm going to keep and then get destroyed by mono white, right? Yeah, I mean, it's all people want to talk about. People always want to talk about restricting something, so this is just the newest thing that people want to talk about, restricting. Like, it's really nonsense that you kind of have to tune out at some point. Like, PO is a card that almost got restricted in Vintage because people were just like, oh, it's really good, and it's been really good for a little while. And then it's just like a very reasonable middle range combo deck. I mean, not me. I think half of Vintage decks are awfully built. Right? Like, there are still people playing Days Undoing in Blue-Black Tinker. I hate that so much. It just really, really irks me. I mean, I'm not, a saint here. We already determined that I think my deck is severely misbuilt. I didn't reevaluate the fact that I don't have Forbidden Orchard, so now I can play Gush Sanctuary. That's a huge mistake. Gush Sanctuary is incredible. So, like, I do it too. Spell Pierce. Ooh, maybe some Esper Tinker. I don't really feel the need to fight over this. I think my Power Blast and Flusterstorm will be quite good against my opponent's deck. Could just be any deck. Spell Pierce, I think, is just a nice choice over Flusterstorm right now with the amount of importance that Moxen have to the mono white deck and how Flusterstorm is hot garbage against the mono white deck. I do like an adoption of some number of Spell Pierces instead of Flusterstorms. Oh, you're gonna like for opposition agent me? I feel like that's so good for me, right? I really hope they opposition agent me. That'd be so sick. Though against Esper, it's a little annoying because if you name instant to protect against Swords to Plowshares, they can have to Fairy. The problem is I'm not going to play this Oath until my opponent plays a creature. I don't think I want either land here. I really want action. Or how about a third and different land? Exciting. Very exciting. So I kind of want my opponent to put like a Hold Reacher in play or something. No? The whole no Forbidden Orchards in my deck has definitely resulted in a couple odd scenarios here. I don't know if any of these lands would have been Forbidden Orchard. Obviously, they could have been. So they are a preordained deck. I would suspect they are Esper Tinker, but they could be like Blue-Red Murktide or something. Yes, agreed. I mean, the no Sanctuary Gush here is definitely just a huge miss in deck building. But again, like I said, that's gonna happen when you make drastic mana base changes. All right, my opponent missed a land drop, but they top bottomed. That's a good draw. I am just gonna fetch now. I think I'd actually rather just have a third I don't think I need a third volcanic. I'm not gonna cast this Ancestral unless they crack this, probably. I need to find a good window where I can maybe get like super Flusterstorm. Okay, we're going in. Super Flusterstorm value. All right, okay. It wasn't great. How many lands do we have left to fetch? This is going to be Storm Count 3. Okay, I'm just going to Pyroblast this. I don't think I need to, like, I have to get crazy value. What is happening? What's going on, chat? What are you doing? Keith is winning the day, I would say. What is this? This is a brainstorm? Sure. So I have a nice answer for Citadel. And I have multiple counter spells, which I like. Well, if there are no mods in chat, Keith, you're safe because I'm playing a game of Magic the Gathering right now. Teferi. All right. Well, I don't really want you to have a Teferi, so... So they are on Esper Tinker, it looks like. All right. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Oath the Druids. Force? I see. I didn't actually think this was going to get forced. So I'm pretty happy about that. New plan. I was going to go Oath and then turn their Ruby into an Elk. But if they're going to force Oath, that's really good for me. Forcing Oko down to 0 cards seems less good for me. The downside of me making this play is I do expose myself to top deck Tinker, but I think that's fine. I guess I could just Elk this Ruby and then I'm not exposed to top deck Tinker. All right, let's do that. That does expose me to top deck Time Walk, right? But two Besajus. I guess I can get swords. Do I play a Besaju? I don't think so. Gaia's Blessing. Do we cast this? I guess we can cast this. What do I do? Even shuffle? I guess I can target myself and shuffle Time Walk, Ancestral, and just Time Walk and Ancestral back into my deck. I don't really think I want an Oath. I don't... Okay. All right. Black Source. So now I can just swing out, right? Three-turn clock. Maybe I could have even swung last turn. Oh, a little more sus last turn. I guess I should play a Besage You now because I have Hardcast Force, Hardcast Trap. True or false? Is that worth doing? I think so. Maybe not. Vamp? Dig Through Time. It's pretty good here. I don't have to counter this, but I think I'm going to. Actually, I think I'm going to counter it with Trap so that I can hold open Besage You. All right, what do you got? Yogwill. So that gives you Ruby Cantrip and land. Yeah, probably supposed to let that resolve because it doesn't kill me. I get a bunch of mana, but I don't have like a ton of counter spells backing me up anymore. I love Yogwill. What a cool card. Yep. All right. They went top. So that's bad. Sensei's top. I can always kill it. I can like Oko target it and then Besage You when they draw. But I'm also on a 2-turn clock. I don't think it matters. Black Lotus is green. All right. I mean, they have access to the card they know is on the card they know is on top, and then 3 unknowns and a top draw. Or we'll look at 3 unknowns and draw with top, plus 1 other card. So I mean, they have a lot of agency here to do something. Vamp resolves. So if you're an Esper Tinker opponent here, what are you vamping for? Are you just like gonna vamp for Tinker and hope and Sphinx? If my opponent vamps for Tinker and casts Tinker, I'm just letting it resolve, right? I just let that resolve. I mean, it makes sense for them to vamp for a Sphinx because I already used up a Seiju in play, which which might have been a mistake, but I don't know. Look kind of right at the time. See what happens. Oh, they just went for Ancestral. Is there any reason to... I can just pitch cast Force on this. Yeah, I mean, pitch cast Force looks great here. All right. Esper Tinker. This one's nice because this is a sideboard out Oath matchup. Oath, Emissary, Blessing, and then we get to play all manner of beautiful magic cards. We get these, we get these, we could have this, we could have these, we could have these. We gotta pick which ones we want. I typically don't like to play a ton of Flusterstorms against them. I typically think that the playing too many Flusterstorms is a little bit suspect. I just don't know how much of these other cards we're gonna play. I like Claim a little bit. I don't know how many. I haven't really mapped this one out all the way, obviously. I do think 2 Fluster down makes sense to me. And then I don't think I'm gonna play all of these Vigors. I think I'm gonna play some of these Vigors. And then I gotta choose if I want to play Null Rod or not. Maybe I actually take out some fast mana. I don't really like taking out fast mana when I'm playing this Minx and Booze style, though. Don't know. I could take out, like, Jet. I could take out Jet Pearl. That seems pretty reasonable. I don't know. I haven't mapped it out all the way. But I do know that I don't want 4 Flusterstorms against their deck. Let's try this. Hello. Thank you. You did it? We're in round 3. How's work? I can definitely see arguments to having more Vigors or boarding different cards here. I don't know that the right answer. I don't play enough of these like rug controlling decks to know exactly how they're supposed to play against Esper, but this hand looks quite good. Yeah, I'll have some soju. So this hand is obviously susceptible to... Ooh. Hope we draw a green card. I guess we can hit a Ponder. Oh, God. Please let me ruin this person's day. Oh, yeah. Look at that. They brought in Cage for our Oath deck. Too smart. No, no, no. Oh, man. We are... Oh, please. All we need to do is hit a green card. How many green cards are in my deck, though? I guess a lot. All my Planeswalkers are green, right? Green card off the top is the best, because then I actually have Flusterstorm back up. All right, I think what we do is... I guess I can still draw Wasteland. So what I should just do is Sapphire Ponder. I did not draw. Huh. That's very awkward. It's very, very awkward. I can do is I could just take Pyroblast and then play Ruby, fetch, and then Preordain for a green card. Don't really want, like, these are my on-color mocks, and I really don't think I want to Null Rod them here. And the biggest problem with Null Rod is I can't protect it with Force or... Like, I think my opponent has Force of Will, right? And I can't protect it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to keep this Pyroblast because it allows me to play off of Ruby. And then I'm going to try Preordaining for a green card. I really, really, really want to Vigor that. Null Rod, I think, just gets forced and we lose. So I think this is the better line. Yes, let's go. All right, time to ruin this player's day. Well, so it's kind of weird, right? Because this version of Rug Oath is actually very good against fast combo decks because it's basically a super control deck. It plays a million counter magics. So it kind of depends on how you build your Oath deck. All right, so upkeep, we get to send our Saga opponent to the Shadow Realm here. Vigor, your Soul Ring, and your Saga with protection. Oh, they don't even have a force. All right. It is definitely a deck that loses to itself a little bit. Now we just want a Wasteland. Or a Mingson Boo. That's not what we wanted. So if my opponent plays like Mana Crypt and makes constructs, we could lose this game. Even just like land Moxen, it's really bad for us. Kind of unfortunate. But I guess because of our Preordain or a Ponder missing, things are a little awkward. Or that. We can also lose to that. Yeah. All right. Losing this game would be extremely silly to me. But it definitely looks like it's on the cards here. We have a lot of draws: Vigor, Wasteland, Oko. But yeah, we lose. Wow. I can't believe we lost this game. Thank you. Cheers. Wow. That is super unfortunate. I can't believe that just happened. So if we had taken Null Rod, we would have won this game. But I just did not put them on. I just did not put them on. I put them on Force of Will. I think I made the right play. What we really needed was to just hit a green card off our Ponder, right? But we did miss there. Maybe I just need to have all 4 Vigors. Kind of unfortunate, really. Another thing would be if I had hit like a green Planeswalker instead of Nature's Claim and still have Nature's Claim in my deck. I'm going to take out a Negation, bring another Vigor in. I guess I had Beseiju to draw into, so I could have drawn into Beseiju, Null Rod. So many cards. Losing that game is crazy to me. All right, this looks fine. We've got Vigor and Wasteland and Probe. What are you gonna? What are you gonna make? Garlic bread stuff. We're just gonna make all grilled cheeses. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just grilled cheese. I don't have to think, so. I just make grilled cheese. Yeah, it's just, but I don't know if they can. Yeah. No, 1%. And then 2 for each one of those. In case there's anything. Okay, this hand kind of does nothing. That's fine. We're playing the controlling role in this matchup. We get to see their perfect information and then preordain for the cards we want. I guess we lose. You're right. Man. This has been really awkward. I can't actually beat this hand in any capacity with my hand. Wow. I don't know what to say. It's so bad for me. I guess we just lose. I think this matchup is like extremely favored. So losing to like the random good pieces of the deck is pretty rough. And by good pieces, I mean good against us. Like, I don't think Time Vault Key is good against us, but Mentor is certainly good against us after we board out Oath. Well, I mean, nothing I do beats this Monastery Mentor, so. Absolutely. I just have nothing that beats this. Could Rending Volley it. This has been a pretty brutal stream. I feel like we've had some really, really rough variants. Also, like, this has got to be, for a non-force hand, this has got to be like one of the top tier Esper Tinker hands you can possibly have, right? Ancestral and Mentor and Mana Crypt and Mox. Seiju. Sure. I drew force after. All right, I have a Minx and Boo that I can't keep this. These cards, I just won't be able to cast them. We're dead. Did I misclick away something that wasn't a Scalding Turn? Yeah, unfortunately, this Mentor all by itself is just going to be good enough. I mean, it's possible my initial hand is not a keep, I guess. It looked kind of reasonable to me. All right. This has been a little brutal. All right, round 4 of metagaming is going as planned. We are up against Code Provider, who is a notorious brewer in the format. So I expect some kind of nonsense from them. This hand's definitely a keep, even though it's a mull to 6. Yeah, Code Provider is very apt to play some kind of nonsense, for sure. Sure. Don't know if I really want to go turn 1 Oko here. I'm not totally convinced I do. I do think I want to play outload it. It really depends on what they're playing. I guess I am like pretty weak to Magus of the Moon. It's one of the things I worry about when I play against Code Provider is they do love Magus of the Moon quite a lot. He's a what? Opal. That's not a very code provider card. What's he up to? What is he doing? Yeah. Okay. Ancestral makes sense. No second Mox. So we could hit either of these with Wasteland. It might be like Blue-Red Caves of Adventure, but still Mox Opal's a little sus there. Oath of Druids. I actually technically have Oath combo here. I just don't know if it's good. Because I can crack for green and play Oko, turn your Opal into an Elk. Looks kind of good here. Kind of like it. It does turn off their Tolarian Academy for it. Like, there's some issues with this line in terms of I think even if they force this oath, it's fine. I just don't know what I'm going to name with the Sarah's Emissary. I don't know what they're doing. Coderific. Very nice. Nice to the 6 months. All right. So I am going to just go for it. I think this is a fun and interesting line, so... The nice part is it does act like a Wasteland. Force pitching Mystical. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. Force pitching Ponder. This does give them an Ancestral, obviously, but... All right, I'm going to turn your Opal into an Elk and turn on my Oath of Druids. I do only have one Sarah's Emissary, and they do have access to Ancestral right now. Back up to 6. Let's see what they find. Any number of Moxen are good because of Academy. Time Walk. Time Walk. That's pretty bad for me, because now they have a ton of mana, and they're going to kill my Oko. That's probably the worst possible thing they could have drawn off of Ancestral. That does seem like the worst possible. Tinker. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Ancestral into Time Walk Tinker is definitely the worst thing that could have happened. I need to probably draw Beseiju here. Just gonna name creature. Gaia's Blessing. It was good my opponent bricked. Gives me a chance at least. Oh, that draw is not helping. Just gonna get rid of the Academy. Has the highest upside. All right, well, time to find out. My opponent only has like a certain amount of life to work with here without killing me. Or if they can't kill me. But I do die to a lot of things. So there is Magus of the Moon. So is it... It's blue... What is happening? There is Magus of the Moon in their Underground Sea Academy deck. Why didn't I think of that before? All right, okay. I'm just saying, it's a code provider deck, so there has to be Magus of the Moon. That's just how this works. It wouldn't be a code provider deck if there wasn't a Magus of the Moon. Let's put it that way. All right, they're at 12. They're at 11. They have a Narset activation. I don't think they what can they possibly have that answers Sarah's Emissary, though? They have to just kill me with Citadel activations or something. Oh, they're Paradoxical Outcome deck. That is horrible for me. That is so bad for me. That is Just, the worst. That was the worst thing that could have happened. Yeah, now I think we are very likely to lose because we'll probably just lose to Citadel, double activate. They'll just draw through their deck and kill us with double Citadel activation, I would assume. But we'll sit here and find out. So I wasn't expecting... I don't know what I was expecting, but clearly not this. I can't imagine playing Magus in my Volcanic Underground Sea deck, but where like you really need blue mana. So they've already used Time Walk, and they don't have enough things to activate Citadel yet. Could just be another PO to get them there, though. They cast Yogwill now. So now I'm worried for them, because how are they going to win this game? Yeah, you have Tinker. Yeah, you have Ancestral. Metagame in Vintage Challenges right now is a pretty narrow field. It's like 30% combo, 30% mono white. So that's what we talked about in the beginning of the stream. You can definitely check out the VOD. But so we built a deck that tries to beat both of those decks, and we've played against not really the metagame I was hoping for, but that's vintage leagues for you. That definitely happens. I don't know how Code Provider wins this game now, which is why we're playing on from here. My opponent has used their Yogwill, which means they can't double activate Citadel, very likely. I guess if they have Monastery Mentor in their deck, they can maybe do Monastery Mentor, but I don't think they have Monastery Mentor in their Magus of the Moon, Volcanic Island, Underground Sea deck. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Who am I to judge? What do I know? If they have Mentor, then it's pretty easy, because they have already Time Walked. They can just play Mentor and all their Moxen, activate, and then activate again on their Moxen. So, but I'm gonna see. Let's find out. I think it's worth. Yeah, you'll see it when we go to sideboarding. Which should be soon. We either won or we haven't won. I don't know the answer. My opponent does have a Time Walk turn, but I just don't know how. I don't think they have 20 permanents in their 20 non-token permanents in their deck to act to Citadel. So my assumption is they won't have any way to kill us. If I get Tendrils, I definitely die to Tendrils. So they have 11 cards left in their deck. This is why I said PO was a bad thing for us, because PO means you just draw your whole deck. So if you do have an answer, then you draw into it. I mean, I think my opponent's answer was really double Citadel activate, but they weren't able to get enough artifacts to activate Citadel before casting Yogwill. I don't know if there was a mistake in sequencing, or if they just like ran out of action and they had to vamp for Yogwill. Well, you can win with just Citadel Yogwill. Yogwill Citadel is itself a built-in win con for Tinker decks. It's 20 damage, right? So you get 10 of your Moxen, and you activate Citadel sacking itself, and then you Yogwill and replay your Citadel. But they didn't do that, so that's why we're still here. Well, they can't vamp for Monastery Mentor because he didn't have a Time Walk turn. We're already they didn't have a Time Walk turn, so they can't vamp for Mentor. They could have a Dress Down for my Emissary. Fair. No, but this is very much a brew, as you can see by the Magus of the Moons that are in play. I'm not convinced my opponent has white mana, so they do have 22 cards in hand, so there's that. They might have 20 permanents in their deck. It's possible. With all these Maguses. What are we at right now? We're at 3, 6, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14. They're actually pretty close. If they just have enough permanents, then they can actually pull this off with double activate. I didn't really count for the fact that there might be like 4 Maguses to sack in this this sequence here. They have a Karn. They can't play the Karn yet, though. They have a top. Now they... Okay, I think we lost. I actually think they made it to 20. Wow, that's awesome. So they're going to activate their Citadel, sacking the Mana Crypt, untap, and then activate Citadel again, I think. Yeah, so it is a big blue-red Tinker deck. Pretty cool. I'm kind of glad we got to see it. Storm count 44. So as long as they sack their Mana Crypt on this run through, and then I haven't counted again. So right now they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They only have 8 right now, and we know they have a Karn. Do they have a 10th? Oh, Karn fetch an artifact. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Very nice. That's pretty awesome. If I had named Artifact, would I have won this game? What if I name Artifact? No, this is each opponent. Nope. This was my play, and this was their out. I love it. Exactly 20 permanents. Very cool. They have a Mana Crypt in their sideboard? Oh no, it was exiled with Yogwill. Never mind. They have a Snapcaster. Cool. All right, that was pretty awesome. Props to them. So it definitely did not have Mentor, exactly. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take out the Oath package in this one. We're going to bring in Null Rods. We're going to bring in Minx and Claim. I don't know about Claims. Maybe just Claim. Probably not Vigor. They're not playing Saga in their deck. A little annoying to bring in Negation against a deck that's playing so many creatures. They are playing what? At least 2. They're probably playing like 2 Caves, 4 Magus. How many Vigors do we really want against PO with a ton of creatures and Planeswalkers? I think Fluster is quite good against our opponent's deck. Typically, you want Fluster against PO. I'm just wondering if we want to bring in like some Vigors. Typically, I like to board out at least 1 Oko. I just don't know how much I want Vigor. You can probably board out a Wrenn and 6. Let's try this. Maybe we want like 1 more Vigor on the play. Is that better than a Negation on the play? I don't really know. It's probably fine, though. I don't have any basics in my deck, though, so Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon will be really annoying. And you can't Oko a Magus of the Moon to a great effect. This is definitely a keep. Will we play Narsa on turn 1, or will we play Oko on turn 1? I don't actually know the answer to that question. Probably Narset. All right, just straight up resolves. Ren and 6 Fluster. Let's definitely get a Ren and 6 going. That's Ren and 6 Strip Mine Lock, so... All right, pass. Unfortunately, again, I have the awkward position where I can't protect the Ren and... Well, now I can protect the Ren and 6. Let's grab a Pyro. So what do we do? We probably just play the Ren and 6 with Force back. Oh, God, I don't know. It's really, really unfortunate. Oh, that just resolved too. Okay. Oh, that makes my life easy. All right, I think we are in a very, very compelling spot here against a Magus of the Moon PO deck where I have them locked off of PO and I have Force with backup against a creature on this turn, and then I have Strip Ren and 6 lock after that. So I think we're in a good spot. I mean, it's nice to have a Black Lotus draw, that's for sure. I actually might pitch Oko. No, probably not. Okay. Tinker, huh? They know I have Pyroblast, which means they drew into Force. I think I'm still supposed to lead Pyroblast. I have Oko for Citadel. Is there a world where I can just let this resolve? Probably not. I guess if I get Force back again there, I still have Oko for Citadel, so... All right, that's the power of having a million counterspells. I guess also the power of having Black Lotus. And do be like that. So if I do it this way, I get to keep my Oko. If I fluster, I don't get to keep... I mean, I guess I could just fluster as my only spell. Yeah, I probably should have done that. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that. I could have just flustered. You're right. I don't know. I just didn't do it. I kind of think I got confused with the opal maybe. I'm not really sure. Definitely just a mistake. All right, what do you got for me? Emerald and Ruby and Tinker? Magus. God, that cannot resolve. I do lose this game if this resolves, so... Oof. I need to draw an extra land, though. Thank you. So they do have Dak with Fluster backup? Huh. Yeah, I mean, this has got to be up there on the series of draws that their deck can have, for sure. If we need to hit a land on this draw. If we don't hit a land on this draw, we're probably in deep trouble. It's not good. I don't know why I just didn't fluster that last play. think I played kind of badly tonight, to be honest. I've been playing kind of badly for a long time now, if it's not PO. All right, pitch Black Lotus Force of Will. What does that mean? Top, not a shot. Even if I miss on land, I need to make sure this doesn't get resolved. My sneep? I don't think it was a sneep, but it was like reasonable. All right, well, they're at 0 cards again. Again, I just looking for a land off the top. I don't have to go all in on that, but I still like it. All right, Tropical is probably both keeps because I'm probably playing Null Rod next turn. All right, so they have one more activation of Dak Faden. Looks 3 cards deep for like a Tinker or something. Oh, I guess we still do die to Magus of the Moon. Merchant Ancestral also quite good. What? Thank you. It's like possible you're supposed to run in 6 there just so you can play Minx on the next turn, but I don't know if I like that. They can steal my Null Rod. I'm gonna eat this now. No one can stop me. Maybe the hot sauce. The grilled cheese.
Hot sauce?
The grilled cheese. Yeah. What kind? The normal kind. I mean, we have like some other things, but yeah, what kind of hot sauce?
You put it
In the grilled cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, they hit force. I mean, it's pretty likely they hit force, seeing they also pitched force attack Vaden. Oh, Vampiric. That can't be good. I can't remember why I had extra add-on money. I have no idea.
Oil.
Maybe. Or like they fucked up or something. Oh, what a job. Oh my god. They forced my Minx and then tutored for a vamp for a Magus. I really needed them to miss at some point, but I guess with the Dak Vaden, that doesn't really happen. All right, we are just getting murdered over and over again. Okay, 5th and final round. This league has not gone as planned. Might be, you know, a mixture of deck problems, drawing problems, pilot problems. Probably a lot of all 3. I definitely feel like we've gotten a little unlucky tonight, and I definitely feel like I played not ideal. And also, the deck is Oath, so it's probably not very good. Let's get rid of Ponder, because I don't have a fetch follow-up, and then we'll just go Misty Preordain. But, I mean, like, I didn't do badly on the RCQ, right? Like, I went 6-2 for 12th place. I felt like it was pretty good. But I've kind of been doing that with my PO, my Esper PO deck for like every major tournament I've played in recently. I like think it's like like pretty close to a 70% win rate in major tournaments with that deck. So I'm just playing bad. Should have got Volk. I do also have a problem where I kind of tune out a little bit once I know I'm losing. Or like once I've started losing a bunch. Oh, that's bad. Absolutely should just gotten Volk. It's okay. That card's not going to do it either. I think it's better to play the Narset than to Wasteland there. Oof, I don't know. I think it's better to play Narset than Wasteland their workshop, because Narset can find me Oath of Druids. And Oath of Druids is going to win the game. I guess I'm taking this Oko. Wasteland is like just kind of coin flipping the match, right? Thor solo. Play Magic Land Destruction deck. Kind of. Well, I can't cast my Narset if I waste. Right? I can't cast my Narset if I waste, unless I draw exactly land, which I did. I mean, my deck is kind of a land destruction deck. It has this card, Red and 6, where you return lands from your graveyard, and you play Wasteland and Strip Mine, which destroy your opponent's lands, and you create a loop. I am extremely punished here by fetching Tropical Island instead of Volcanic Island. If I had fetched Volcanic Island, I could take Ren and 6, pick up my Wasteland, and Wasteland their workshop. But I'm bad at Magic. Unlucky, really. I'm just going to play an Oko. I think we're winning this game for what it's worth. My opponent also didn't play a spell off of their workshop last turn. They played no spell off their workshop again? That's not really acceptable. They're just super dead. I can't, I don't even know what, this like doesn't seem like a keepable hand. I mean, they can't cast Golos, right? Golos costs 6 mana. But now I'm going to land Deathlock them for Thor solo. This one's for you, Thor. Every turn, I'm going to bring back this Wasteland and kill their land. Do it for Thor. Also, every turn, I'm going to make an elk, and they're going to die. She's very much just going to die. Oh, I didn't realize they had a land there. Opponent is a trooper for playing this one out. Yeah. A dedicated land destruction deck. Those don't really exist in this format. This format is like a highly competitive format with all the cards Magic's ever had. So you end up with very tuned and very powerful decks. But there are like land destruction sub strategies. Like my opponent probably plays a card called Crucible of Worlds, which is a 3-mana artifact that lets them play lands from the graveyard and does the similar thing with this Ren and 6. So some similar things. So we're playing against we're playing against a shops deck. So we're gonna bring in Vigors. We're gonna leave in the Oath plan. We're gonna bring in Claim and this, and then we are gonna see how many cards we need to board out, because it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be all the Flusters, all the Pyroblasts. It's at least that, and then I don't think we're gonna bring in Null Rods. I usually only bring in Null Rods against aggro shops with like Ravagers. Against like a prison shops, I don't usually bring in Null Rod. I will bring out... I have like not enough blue cards to be cutting blue cards here, huh? I think we need Minx. I think we'll just keep this. Usually when you have the first workshop, you usually have the second as well. And the third. And the fourth. This hand's not amazing, but I think it's fine. Okay. That's pretty good. What's your follow-up? 4 mana? Stony? Stony boy. I'm just going to counter Stony boy. I don't think it's worth playing around. I'd like to cast this Preordain on turn 1 here. I guess I could technically cast it off of Jet, but I guess maybe I'm more likely to Wasteland. What am I talking about? This looks like a Wasteland angle for sure. Okay, good follow-up. What do you got after that? Sphere. I do think I'm gonna let the sphere resolve. I think I'd rather cast Preordain and maybe I was gonna say maybe cast Vigor. I'm pretty happy I did that. I need to hit land drops. That's bad. That kind of went really poorly for me. If I get wastelanded here, I'm probably losing. What? How? What? What? Oh, they are on lands. Oh. So I really want to Vigor their Sphere and their Library in their upkeep, but I just really want to hit a land drop. So I'm gonna make the risky play and try to Ancestral for lands, which I hit. And then I don't want them to draw any cards off this library, is what I don't want them to do. So I'm gonna actually pitch this Oath and just go for a Red and 6 Wasteland lock against them. That should be good enough. All right. Well, maybe it won't be good enough this turn. Unless they hit, I guess if they hit either of these, it won't be good enough this turn. But I think we're in a great spot now. You did tell me, but I didn't believe you. Oh, there's the fast spawn with 1 card in hand. Not as threatening as the fast spawn with 7 cards in hand. Red and 6 is just a hell of a magic card. It's really silly how good this card is. All right, so the reason they didn't play anything last turn or last game is because they didn't have anything. I guess there could be Golos in this deck. If you're playing Ancient Tomb, it's definitely possible. Oh, maybe it's the the Farino deck from Champs. Loam back Workshop Wasteland. Wasteland me does not feel like the play. Eventually, I just need to kill this Emerald. Or draw a blue card to negate Loam. I guess I can just do that now. I don't think Red and 6 is like too good for Vintage or anything, but Red and 6 is definitely a hell of a magic card. All right, they dredged back Loam. Oh, they actually hit Riftstone Portal to turn their Maze into a Mana Source. I'm just gonna hard cast negate this Loam, and then I think we'll be in a good spot. Kind of wish we had a Dak Baden. Convert some of these cards into lands into cards. All right, what's going on, opponent? What's your plan? What are you gonna do? Yeah, I didn't include one, but you could definitely play like third round and change it to a DAC. You just like you get a lot of crowding on 3 drops. I don't really think with the way we have it currently set up, we want to like cut an Oko because we have no orchard. My opponent just said, surely you don't have Force of Negation in your hand. I mean, I have telegraphed that I do, in fact, have Force of Negation in my hand. Which is quite good here. Yeah, it's not good for you. I agree, opponent. I guess I could technically... I don't really want... I just give me an Oko. At some point, I can Besage you this Emerald and then hit whatever they get off of it, but it's probably not necessary. Yeah, what's up, Long? We're playing good old-fashioned Raphael Magic here. Blue Planeswalkers. All right, well, now we're no longer doing that, but we were doing that for the time you weren't here. This is like this is supposed to be an anti-combo, anti-mono white deck. So like a bunch of counter spells versus combo, Oath of Druids for Emissary versus mono white, and then if you are playing against combo, you side out Oath of Druids and Emissary for Minx and Boo and those kind of cards. That was the plan. Obviously, that didn't really happen. We didn't play against any mono white. We played against a variety of interesting decks, which is cool because you're playing a league, you want to play against interesting stuff. Challenges do tend to be very different from league metagames, and that was, shown tonight. I think the proof of concept of this deck is probably fine. There are probably some tuning involved. Like, this Wasteland probably should become Sanctuary. Or actually, that might be too many lands in general. So maybe it's just like a Sanctuary, and then cut like a Beseju, and then we play a Gush. And then we would maybe cut a Wren or something. I don't have to cut a Wren. I just don't have a cut Wren. Okay, something like that. Maybe those seem like interesting things. Like maybe having a basic forest in my sideboard makes sense against like initiative and those kind of decks. That does actually make sense to me. So maybe like a forest in the sideboard, and then we change. Of course, we have to change our Misties, change to Misties and our fetch nice mana base. And then we would take out like one of the Rending Volleys probably. So yeah, so this was the idea. Didn't get to play against mono white, so we don't know for sure if our Oath of Druids Emissary plan is actually going to be good enough against mono white. So more testing is required there. It does feel like the control plan does work against the combo decks. We did kind of get run over by a few combo decks tonight, but we also got run over by like the more fair combo decks in the sense, not the more fair, but in the sense they're like more well-rounded. They have tutors and stuff. We didn't play against like Jewel Shops or Oops All Spells, that kind of thing. So thank you for watching. More vintage content on this YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll see you then.